Good afternoon, and welcome to Crash Course Podcast number 363. Good episode lined up tonight. We're going to be going through a whole bunch of stuff here tonight. Hopefully everybody can hear us all right. We're going from the home office tonight. We've got all sorts of local fair stuff coming up here in town. We've got all sorts of recaps to go through from action up in Canada. We've got Minnesota stuff. We've got Iowa stuff to get to. We're going to be talking with TJ McCullough and also hanging out with Christy Germain a little bit through the course of the weekend. There's a good look at them hanging out here. Christy had her hands full. TJ with a big announcement on a couple different fronts. We're going to be running through some of the stuff with the through the Unified Point series as well. So Brian, he's got his hands full tonight, so he's not going to be able to join us. I don't know if there would actually be room in the team meeting for him, even if we tried. But here we are, off and running. Big thanks to Jeffy's Fab Farm. He's again been facing a little bit of adversity down there, so we've been thinking of him. And Smith Metalworks, who continue to help make Crash Course possible. We'll be talking about them, I'm sure, through the course of our episode here. So how's everybody been doing up there in Ontario and in Maryland? Ontario, I say up in Ontario because I don't think you're allowed to go anyplace else right now. And then TJ, he's been covering most of the country.
Well, you've got at least the Undertaker and the real Undertaker on your show tonight, so you get double whammy with us.
I don't know. You say there's no room for Brian. I think it's because there's too much personality on the
I know. At this point, what I should have done is just sent the list of things. Make sure you hit on this stuff to you two, and I could have just hit the mute button and let you carry it from here on out.
Well, we were having a chat before you connected us, and all of a sudden we're like, oh crap, Chris is involved in this. We should really wait for Chris to talk, and we should just be quiet, but...
Well, we've got sort of a rank and file thing that we wanted to run through here. First, kicking things off with Christy to talk a little bit about everything that happened up there with the Impact Motorsports event this weekend. Thrown a pretty big curveball there right as at the 11th hour in terms of losing the grounds, not being able to go off as planned, and then somebody else jumping up right away. You did some videos, you documented it. I know you've got your winners and stuff to go through, but let's first start with exactly what happened and the rising from the ashes like a phoenix, everything going off essentially without a hitch.
Oh, well, we had a situation. We had the contract with the racetrack basically to do a show in July and a show the 3rd and the 17th. On the 3rd, they had canceled on us the night before because you know what it's like at the racetracks. They don't like rain. They don't like that sort of thing. So as soon as they even see rain, they cancel.
Right.
And they had canceled on us with 12 hours before showtime. So we scrambled and convinced them to actually let us run, and the sun came out and that sort of thing, and the track cleared up, so they gave us the approval to run on the 3rd. And then the following Saturday, we got a call saying that they were behind schedule. They had some plumbing issues, had to pull out their toilets, that sort of stuff, had to, redo a whole bunch of stuff. There was no water. They didn't feel comfortable having people at the track, had to get their guardrails installed. Just a ton of things to get ready for their home opener on the 1st of August, and that they were regrettably going to have to cancel our show on the 17th. And Devin and I both looked at each other and said, we can't do that. We can't do that to our drivers who have been building for months and months on end. And we can't do that to, they've been away from their families. They've been away from their, their kids. They've postponed vacations. They've booked vacations. They've booked hotel rooms and that sort of stuff. And we just went into kind of defense mode and started calling in everywhere we could. We contacted the old track owner, Dave Bittner, who jumped right on it. And he's like, I've got this. You guys secure a location and I've got everything else set. So he went into amazing contacts and just got a lot of stuff done. We called Binbrook Fairgrounds, which is kind of like our local fairgrounds, and they called an emergency meeting. And next thing you know, we had to get a city approval. And if anyone's ever dealt with a city before, that's interesting. So I phoned every place in 24 hours and got city approval within 24 hours to do the event. So we were very happy to announce that we actually could run the event and have it. So it was quite the feat that our team rallied behind and pulled it off. In 24 hours, we basically developed an entire standalone show. And we're a little stressed, but we made it. We got through, and that's all that matters.
Have you got your win list right there, so you can recognize the folks that came out and supported you in terms of the driver's side of things?
I did not have it in front of me, but I can in
Okay.
about 30 seconds if you ask me another question while I'm looking at it.
Well, I mean we've gone through this a little bit here in the states with some of the derbies that have wanted to happen. We've had conversations about. I think it was Utica Rome Speedway was sort of in a situation like this, Land of Legends Raceway, where if the track rains out, then essentially the Derby's going to rain out too because the track is closing, and they're
Yeah.
supposed to just pull the plug on things, and it doesn't necessarily go that way. And at one point, I think Josh was involved with one where either there was rain and they were going to cancel the show, or there wasn't enough cars, so they were going to cancel the show. And Decker sort of tried to flex a little bit and say, hey, we came here. It's not our fault that there's only 4 cars here. I'm sorry that the weather didn't cooperate, but demolition derbies aren't really worried about
No.
what we run into necessarily. It's just sort of how it goes. So
Well, we've
that
tried to
ended up happening.
explain that to people that you can't cancel a derby due to rain. Like we've ran up here in Ontario. If you've ever ran Fall Brawl in October, you're running in rain up to your door handles. Like it's Niagara Falls coming over as you stop. You're getting like soaked and continuously drenched from the amount of rain you're dealing with. And to turn around and put up a post 12 hours before saying we're canceled because of rain. Like TJ, could you imagine saying cancel because of rain?
I would puke. I don't know how
Right?
you did it.
Well, we almost did a few times. So, but yeah, you just don't cancel. It's a different breed when you're talking to derby drivers and you're like, oh, we're canceled because of rain. You just can't do that. So it's, we had people that were driving 7.5 hours to get to our show. How are you supposed to cancel when they've driven from Quebec? Like they've driven an entire province to get there, and you say, sorry guys, turn around and drive home?
Right.
No, we're not doing that to our drivers.
I was happy to see Nick Embry was able to get out there, and he's actually in the chat right now. He says Impact did a heck of a job putting the show together in less than 5 days. The amount of time it took for everything went smooth. Can't wait for the future things to come, so that's good. Have we given you the chance to get your lists out?
I do. I got
All
it
right.
right here. So,
TJ, sit up a little bit.
TJ, sit up a little bit.
Yeah, there you go.
Sit up, Undertaker.
Come on. What do you
All right. So, junk run, first place, Rodney Otto. Chris Damo finished second. Spencer Wolf was our Mad Dog. Figure 8, we had heats and features, so I'm just going to give you the feature winners, Dave Patton and Kent Taylor. This crew, there we go, put the DDP in there. This crew is kind of like part of the Crazy 8 crew, and they actually called us and came together and did this huge fundraiser to have more money for the Figure 8 guys, and they're just phenomenal, so thank you to all of them. Stock Compacts, we had 2 features. First feature was Nolan Johnson with first, Dylan DeBathe was second. Carson Thompson was an amazing Mad Dog, just like sending it out there. Feature 2, Riley Bertrand, he finished first. Jay Labarge from Quebec, he got second, and Junior Donnell from Quebec got the Mad Dog. We actually had a radar gun on the track, and he hit 54 kilometers an hour going across the track. Now, for you guys, that's what, 1.6 kilometers an hour, whatever. I don't know how much it is in miles per hour, but it's fast. Most junked, RJ Phillip got most junked. Wheelman Award was Spencer Wolf. Full-size V8, Cale John and Maddox Winan got second. Maddox Winan, 16 years old, first time ever driving in a derby whatsoever, so awesome for him. Kenny Simpson got Mad Dog. Kicker cars, these were all Bash for Cash built kicker cars. They had their cars sitting here for 2 years that they couldn't run, so we decided to open a class up for them to go ahead and run. So Dylan Boyle got first, Ryan Brandt got second, BJ Haining got Mad Dog, and Pro Trucks, Mitch Johnson got first. Rick Clark, you guys all know Rick, he got second. And the Mad Dog was Charles Lozon from Quebec. So Quebec took home a lot of awards and a lot of money from Ontario this weekend. So very happy for them.
Awesome.
That's because the borders aren't open yet. Merc is coming.
Good. We welcome it. Bring it on. Bring it on.
So Nick had the chance to run with his dad for the first time, over there at that show. So that was a big deal for those guys, and they're gonna get a chance to do that again coming up this fall. Looking at another show in August, and then going back with Dad in September to finish the cars off. A little bit of bad luck. It didn't quite go the way that they had planned along those lines, but nonetheless, able to make a little bit of family history for the Moose Juice crew. So that was really cool to see that that pan out the way that it did. So now TJ, we can see him grinning and mugging it up now, and see all of that wonderful face now that we've got him sitting up straight and everything. So I got some notes here from Mark Elliott, and most of them I can't read on the air, but he was really, but he was talking a little bit about you and talking a little bit about Jordan Rutherford, who's now jumped up into third place. Jordan's up to third, and he wasn't able to join us last night because he's in the process of welcoming another Rutherford into the world. So he's not going to be with us here. But from a driver's standpoint, you're coming off a win in Ohio and moved up in terms of Platinum Plus sponsorship for the series with Deadman itself. Where are things at for TJ McCullough in terms of the Unified Points Series, trying to score points, and does it help score extra points as a sponsor?
Well, being a sponsor is so different as the driving side of it, because I really want to be in support of Mark as just as much as everybody else does, because Mark is such a great, I guess, professional of his craft. I mean, he does such a great job of promoting your show while you're there, and getting behind what he's doing as a sponsor just, solidifies the fact that we believe in what he's doing, because he's put himself out there. Let's not forget that he also opened up his Unified Point Series during a year of COVID, and did not get to run but maybe a third of the shows that he wanted to do. So he struggled. So being able to turn around and back them as a company is really important to us, just because we believe in what he's trying to do to progress the sport. And it's awesome to have Mark Elliott there at your shows, because outside of, Christy Germain, he's probably the best announcer in the game. So he's so good at what he does, and he delivers such drama on the racetrack. I mean, He could make two stalled cars look like they were nosing each other, and he is so good at doing that. And what he's doing for this point series is just so cool. And he just made the whole point series chasing group went crazy after he announced that he's going to pay even more money. So it's good to be a sponsor for sure. We're humbled that he would even allow us to be a part of the Unified Point Series with Buried Alive 2, which we refer to as the hardest dang on. And I say dang on, 10 points you can earn in the Unified Point Series. You have to be crazy to try to earn 10 there. So we're really humbled for that. As a driver, this stuff is crazy. I have no idea how these people like Shipley and Santel did it last year. I told Kayla, I said, I haven't won many derbies in my whole entire career, and to think that I'm going to go out and win 7 or 8 shows this year and be in the top 5 in the Unified Point Series is really unrealistic for me. So I told Mark Elliott, I said, listen, I'm going to go to Stoneboro. I'm bringing a compact. I haven't been in a compact in about 4 or 5 years. If I score any points at all, I'm all in. And he's like, really? And I'm like, yeah. I ended up finishing 3rd with a little bit of bad luck, but one of the first people on the crowd, onto the track was Mark Elliott standing there, and he's looking at me like, eh? I was like, yeah.
Famous last words.
I guess this means this is what we're doing. Went to Bash for Cash. I thought I had the best car in the heat. We had some bad luck with radiator cap just exploded completely off the car. First hit, steering box split, a whole bottom of the steering box splits. Find a way to get it down to 3rd, and score again. And Mark kept saying to me, I'm not saying your name if you're just going to keep finishing 3rd. So I have this thing where I always, if I score, I'm just like, hey, Mark, say my name. And he's like, you're going to have to do more than that. You're going to have to do more than that. And, I went to Washington Courthouse. Now a lot of people don't know this, but I actually injured myself really bad at Bash for Cash. I rode with Mason Stacy in the youth class, and we got track shotted by a kid, and it injured a lot of my ribs very badly. And it's been a struggle for the last couple of weeks to get even to lift things in the garage, to be able to, move stuff around. And thank God I have amazing help. But I go to Washington Courthouse in a van, and I wanted no business of even being a part of that show. I was in so much pain. I got out there, and then of course the Mad Dog decides he's going to pick on me the whole time. And he just absolutely speed bagged me. And I'm like, man, it's really hard to go this far out of town and not score points. Then we turned around, and I told Kayla, I said, I'm just not feeling good enough. I don't think I can keep going. I'm just in too much pain. And she's like, well, if you do this one more, then maybe you can take a couple weeks off. And that was right at the hardcore show at the Knob, and I ran a compact, which is insane because that's like the hardest hitting show that they have up there. We were fortunate enough to bring it down. Me and Merriman went down to 1-2. I finished second, scored again, and I'm like, well, now we have the opportunity to, be in third place. David King scored, tied me for third. Then Jordan Rutherford comes out of nowhere, scores 2 back-to-back, and you're like, well, now here he is. He's a top-of-the-line driver, but, awesome that he's having a baby. We're welcoming Weldon in, hopefully in the next, couple days here. Hopefully I'm praying for safety and health for the baby and for baby mama and for Jordan's insanity. I've been through that a couple times. So, rooting for the Weldon to come in, but then he comes in, scores points, and now he's moved himself into third. I'm looking up at Steven Sickles with this big lead. Don Santel's been kind of absent. So we head out to Indiana. And it's, those boys out there, they don't like out-of-towners. So I was going to put the pedal to the metal, the thingy to the floor, and send it in that caddy for about 14 minutes. Got Mad Dog out there, which is another thing you can get on the Unified Point Series. And then we turned around and built a car in 4 days and went out and we got lucky enough to win the Motor Swap, Pro Stock, whatever you want to call it, out at Justin Buchanan show out there in Proctorville. And here we are. Found ourselves away into fourth place and looking up, and I know Jordan's gonna be very busy with this baby, so we can catch him for sure.
So we got Jordan actually in the chat. So if TJ doesn't bring one of those hats to Butler on Monday, he's not gonna have to worry about chasing points.
Oh man, listen, it's so glad that he turned it down, because I'll tell you, him and I cannot be in the same chat. It'd be like watching Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly in an interview together. It just wouldn't.
Oh God.
Oh my. But
that's what it was like. That was what it was like when you're like listening to the two of them discuss the tires that TJ bought that Devin wanted to buy at the expo. And it was just like watching an episode of Step Brothers. It was the funniest thing I think I've ever watched.
Oh my. Yeah, that's crazy. I will say this much: if you haven't tried to chase for points, good, because I don't want you catching me. But if you get the opportunity this year, next year, to actually invest in chasing points, the feeling that you get inside the car is so weird. I'm in the car, and a lot of people will kind of relate it to the fact that the top 3 usually get money, so it's kind of the same thing. But I've been in the car, and I'm like, okay, if I can just 2 more people out, and that's 6 points. And then, like, I'll hit somebody and I'll wait and I'll see their flag drop. And I'm like, okay, that's 8. Let's go for this 10. It's like I'm constantly thinking about that in the car. So Mark's given us something else to, like, it's a lot of pressure, but it's given us something else to, like, grasp after, to want. And man, I want one of them rings so bad. I don't care if it's third place. I'll wear that thing like it's going out of style. And it's something that you can really, visually see and want and desire. And it's really cool. Not to mention that money looks really good, too.
Well, the most recent event was the Riverside Riots in Proctorville. Stephen Nichols came up with the win in that class. That was in the mower class. And then in the trucks, it was Amber Ferguson taking the win over Jason Morris and L.A. Ferguson. Mad Dog Award also went to L.A. Ferguson. Amber Ferguson got the closer award on the truck side of things. Tracy Osborne ended up getting the win in the ladies only feature over Jessica Burgess and Nancy Wright. The mini street stock, Isaac Geiger taking the win there over Andy Bays and Bubba J. Bubba J got a Mad Dog Award in the rear-wheel drive street stocks. Jason Adkins won there. Mac Dickus and then Jack Lehman running through the top 3. The Smash It Mini Legal class, Jordan Cox got the win there over Matthew Mullins, and then the compact champion Tyler Dodd ended up pulling 3rd out in that one in the Smash It Mini Illegal class, which is a fascinating title for a class. Josh Walters got the win over Jensen Burnfield and Ty Van Sickle, Jeremiah Scott in the Mad Dog position there in the Smash It Mini Illegal class. So that brings us to the point standings. We had a couple of people that are asking about that right now. Steven Sickle still out in front, 90 points to his credit thus far, and then Don Santel sitting there at 40 points. And as you mentioned, we haven't seen a lot of Don, but I trust he's probably in the garage working on the welder, and he's going to put on a big push here this fall. Jordan Rutherford jumping up to 3rd place, 36 points on the board for him. TJ back there in 4th with 30. Mason Stacy, 28 points. That's a youth driver in 5th, and then Terry Abadi, 24 points back there, another youth driver, in 6th place. So top 5, the back half of that top 5 starting to get a little bit interesting there for the Unified Point Series. Coming up here, upcoming events on the board. We have moved into the middle of July, so looking ahead from here after the Riverside Riots is going to be Ruts Fabs Butler County Fair in Hamilton, Ohio. That's the 26th and the 30th of July. And then on the 31st, Smash It's got Preble County in Eaton, Ohio. Hardcore is going to kick things off for the month of August with Destruction in Dunbar, Pennsylvania. Smash It's back with Preble County Night 2 in Eaton, Ohio on the 7th of August. And then Hardcore is on the board on the 14th alongside TNT. That's Washington Warzone in Washington, Pennsylvania. And then the Branch County Fair in Coldwater, Michigan. That brings us up through the middle of August there. So make sure you stay tuned to the Unified Point Series, 527unifiedseries.com for additional details and standings. We made a little bit of a reference there to what Hardcore has coming up on the schedule. Hardcore is going to be pretty busy here over the next couple of weeks. King of the Hill coming up on July the 24th. That is in Windridge, Pennsylvania. That's going to be the next one on the schedule for that group. And then after that, they're going to turn around and they're going to run Destruction in Dunbar. That's Dunbar, Pennsylvania on the 29th of July. August the 13th is Chaos and Coal Country. That's in Waynesburg, Pennsylvania. The Power Wheels Hardcore Compacts, Hardcore Hobby Stock. That's all there. That's part of the Greene County Fair, taking top 5 in each class as a qualifier for the year-end event. That is, again, August 13th. The next night is the August 14th event, Washington Warzone in Washington, Pennsylvania. That's going to be another big one. The Warzone are going to double up on August the 20th as well. That's the second half of that. Again, Washington, Pennsylvania, the home for that one. That is the Washington County Fair down there in the Commonwealth. The Great Stoneworld Fair is scheduled for September 4th and 5th. The first night's got the Power Wheels, the Compacts, the Hardcore Compacts, Hobby Stocks, Hardcore Full-Size Minivans, SUV, and Mini Trucks. The next night, we're going to have the Power Wheels, the Youth Full-Size, Hardcore Compacts, the Hobby Stocks, and a Relic Class going to be on the card there on September the 5th. September the 7th is the Route 40 Rumble, and all of this, that's in West Alexander, PA. All of this feeds into the Hardcore Full-Size Championship, September 25th and 26th. That is going to be the final confrontation at the Fayette County Fairgrounds. $10,000 to win event, 25th and the 26th, along with the Jeffy's Fab Farm $3,000 Mad Dog Award there. So that's kind of exciting. Moving back over quickly into the promoters conversation, TJ releasing some news this weekend for 2022 because the Demolition Derby season not only doesn't end, but it never stops planning. So looking a little bit of a year from now, I guess, is the safe way to call it. And why not? Right? No better time than the present.
Well, if I could, if I had one thing I would do, I would take it back and announce it next week, because I've had so many phone calls asking what classes we're running this Saturday, because people don't read them, do they, Christy?
No, they don't.
It's 2022. So basically, New Alexandria, Pennsylvania, has one of the most iconic tracks, period, out there. It's the tires dug in the ground halfway. I mean, you've seen it on the video game that they have it there. It's just a really great track. I was fortunate enough to run Keystone Nationals there last year, where the Iron City Promotions will be Iron City Nationals this year in September. And I've always gone there to watch the Demolition Derbies, and I'm like, this is a great track. We would really enjoy putting a show on here. Well, then I started kind of talking to Aaron from the New Alexandria Lions Club, and he's a great person to deal with, very, very awesome guy. And he said, why don't you guys come up here? And he kept hinting that, maybe you guys come up here and do a day, do an event or something like that. And we basically gave him a platform of what we would like to do. And I walked up there on Saturday to sell our apparel, and he said, what day are you thinking about coming here? And I was like, well, this is what we're presenting. And he's like, done. We're going to announce it tonight. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we're gonna announce that tonight. So the announcement was, that we're gonna have on July 23rd, 2022, at the New Alexandria Lions Club, The Dead Will Rise, Day of the Dead. Day of the Dead will be a one-day. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be absolutely off the chain. One of the things that we were really watching is there's been a lot of promoters talking about how do you make people hit, how do you get the crowd involved, that kind of stuff. We're not saying we got the model. We're not saying, but here's what we're going to try. So what we're going to try is our main class is going to be heats and features. The only way to get into the feature is to win a Reaper award, period.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, I know you guys with Mad Dog Motorsports. I know, Devin's probably like, I'm running. He's probably already crossed the border. But what it does is we have in my opinion, we have a good following of drivers that just like to put on a heck of a show. We also have, those drivers that are money drivers, but they still pick up the pace. Great. A lot of those drivers have been coming to me saying, we really like the idea of being able to go to the feature and have an advantage with a good car. And we're going to give them enough with the rules and, of course, enough with wire and fix-it plates for them to be able to go out and put on a show and then turn right back around, come out, put on another show in the feature. Even the consolation is going to be, you have to win a Reaper in the consolation to get there. You will have to put the right foot down in order to get to the feature in this. And then everything else, me and Jeffy from Jeffy's Fab Farm have been working secretly on this really cool idea that we have, and we're going to be presenting it probably at Day of the Dead there. I think it's just the perfect opportunity. There's not going to be anything normal, not anything normal about the Day of the Dead. It is going to be absolutely insane, and it's going to be a one-day drop mic, which means I'm going to get to talk a lot because I won't lose my voice throughout that night.
Well, that's
Devin already has his car picked out for that, and yeah, there's a lot of really neat things going on.
Mark Elliott just sent me a message asking, just asking that I remind you that deposits for 2022 Unified Point Series events are due by the end of the year.
Well, so one of the funny things is I am not a dumb man. Did you notice that there's nothing going on this weekend on the 24th for the Unified Point Series?
Thus far,
there's nothing going on, which means there technically is currently an open gap around that July 23rd, 24th, region coming up for next year. So I thought maybe I'll just throw myself right in on that.
Hey, and don't worry, TJ, because we're in talks with Mark Elliott about bringing a Canadian Point Series stop on the Point Series.
A Canadian Point Series, like up in Canada, or a tour stop?
A tour stop up here in Canada to throw a total wrench in the system.
Well, I've been working on trying to get my passport, so I will be all in on that. You know it. I think that I should get free entry into the next Rumble that you do.
Hey.
Man, it's
like, could you imagine all those guys chasing points right now that if they had to come up and defend their title in Canada or make a decision?
Listen, I know a lot of people that right now, like Chris was just mentioning, about to take a really interesting turn, and I'm running the next 4 events because of that interesting turn. I'm going out to the Jordan show, and then Jordan show the Monday, Friday, and then staying there and going to Preble, and then coming back, building a compact for hardcore, which is local here. Because right after that, I go on vacation for 7 days. I won't be back for the 14th show, so I'm gonna miss 3 shows in there. Then the turn goes to Michigan.
Yep.
So how bad do you want that ring? Because if Steven Sickles isn't going to go to Michigan, we need to go to Michigan. Like, we
exactly.
need to go. And
that's what the conversation was about, throwing a spot in Canada.
Right. So if you got to go all the way to Canada, I'm gonna make sure I'm FBI and make sure that Steven can't get a passport. That's an easy 10 points for us. Like, we'll make sure we got to do what we got to do to get this.
That's funny. Oh, man.
Can we go back to the Point Series for a second and make a statement?
Sure.
Do you realize in the top 6 there's 2 youth drivers? How amazing is that?
Yeah, that's something that Mark has talked. Mark's talked quite a bit about that and how cool it is, and that's something that Casey's real proud of too over at Smith Metal Works, about the fact that those drivers are able to hold their own.
Christy, what's really cool is we've made no bones about it. Mason and their family have helped us, and Mason's built a car or 2 for me. And we
14 years old building a car for you.
In Camrys, taught me a lot about the compact world, and thanks to him, huge shout out to him. But him and I think it's a baddie. Is it a baddie?
Yes.
They those 2 kids can wheel a car, and and then there's like Lil Freebie, he can wheel a car. There's so many out there that are so talented, and some of the fans, we were sitting out there at Proctorville when Mason and Terry were going at it. I think they went at it for like 10 minutes or 12 minutes by themselves, just one-on-one, trying to find the angle. And it was like watching two adult experienced drivers go at it. And this is for points. Both of these kids are locked in to trying to chase this. They want to be, their goals are a lot higher than just being the highest, youth driver. Mason is like, I'm beating you in points. And I'm like, oh boy. Like, he went out at Proctorville and scored 10 points and looked over at me, and I'm like, yeah, I know you're ahead of me right now. As soon as I got out of the car, first thing I was thinking, hey buddy. And then,
think about that. This 14-year-old is beating several adults. 14. At 14 years old, he has honed his skills, and it is such an amazing ring awareness that you have to take notice of that. And to have two youth drivers in the top 10 is phenomenal. It's such an amazing thing for the point series.
What's great about that is, like, what Mark always, like last year you had, Jeremy Riley and you had Shipley there. They were kind of battling each other. You didn't really see Don Santel and Shipley going head to head. But, anything can happen in this sport. And at the rate that Mason and Terry can clip off these victories and top 2s, top 3s, and all these shows, and the support of their families, they're willing to go anywhere. They can rip 100 points and find themselves right there. What if Steven, God, I don't want it to happen, but what if something would happen? You break a hand, or anything can happen in Demolition Derby world. A concussion, you're out for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Anything that can happen in this world, and all of a sudden they're moving right in there. They're breathing down his neck, and then you have bad luck, and all of a sudden they're in the lead. But what Mark's, I'm sure he's just loving the fact that these two have to go against each other to score. So they're going to keep rising the ladder. But at what point in time are they going to be like, are we going to work together until we get to 1, 2, and 3? Or are they going to be like, you're not scoring tonight and I am? When's that? Because they're kind of friends. They're kind of like on that, when's that drama going to start? And I think that's where the Unified Point Series really starts to get down to it. Because if for some reason I can catch Steven, I'm gonna be in a van. And I'm going to be going after him in compacts. You know what I mean? And if I get ahead of him, I'm going to jump in big cars, and I'm going to force him to come after me in big cars. So like,
and then you have it on the flip side as a promoter, that you welcome this on your track. You welcome this competition, and you welcome the amount of fans that are going to come and sit down and watch these guys go to battle all the time. So it's an amazing thing for the promoters. It's an amazing thing for the fans. It's an amazing thing for the drivers. And Mark is just killing it out there.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the only thing I would encourage all promoters out there to do is just do your derby, do your show. The point series is its own entity that's there, but just let it organically happen. Don't try to, don't talk about it too much. Don't say, be mindful of this, be mindful of that. Just let us do our thing. Like, we don't need any extra attention, and you also don't need to like hide that we're there. Like, we're going to do our own politics, and we're going to do that. It's just do your own thing, do your show, and it'll organically work out exactly where you want it to be.
All right. Trading some messages back and forth. Live chat is hopping tonight as well. Candace Joe with Domination Motorsports is bleeding brakes in a truck right now as we speak. I just sent her an invite into the Microsoft Teams chat if she can make it. She happened to notice, or it was at least put on notice, that we were going to be talking a little bit the action in Onawa, Iowa. We'll be diving into that in just a second, just to catch up here in some of the live chat conversation. Jeffy tuning in. He's wondering what he missed because he was busy working, which is kind of standard issue for him. Scott Kiefer checking in. Good to hear from Scott. Scott Drevenak, Mark Gagney. Congratulations, Devin and Christy, for a great weekend. And he's also planning on making the trip in 2020. I think that's a reference to the 2025 date that TJ is announcing next week. He's going to be making the trip down wherever that is. And then that weekend that might have a little bit of conflict, Blue Ridge Bash falls about the same time. Dustin Price says down there in Virginia. Steven Sickles says if he needs to travel to Mexico at this point, he would go. Jordan Rutherford, he's already planning that maybe it's going to be a little bit rowdy at his house with the newborn, so he's planning on going to Mexico with Steven if he needs to. Candace is checking in out there. while doing those breaks. Candace with Domination Motorsports, the Manoa County Mayhem was this weekend in Onawa, and I just want to take a minute to recognize that I've known about the Onawa derbies in Iowa since probably 2010 or 2011. It was early in the going on of when we were doing the DVD stuff, so maybe it was a year or two after that. But Onawa has been this thing for so long. It's almost like America's county fair. Everybody talks about Onawa. It's just this fair that no matter where you go, drivers have talked about it, or they know drivers. They have some sort of connection back to it. And it was a 2-day show this year, and more success for Candace and Domination, all the drivers. Team Octane coming up with the modified team win on Friday night. Eric Floyd and Dylan Kunkel winning there. Team Octane, always a force to contend with. Team SMS getting the team win also on Friday night in the SSW class. Ira Walker and Justin Fainter winning there. Saturday night, they wrecked everything that they could in the state of Iowa. Full-size hobo class, Christian Allen won that one in the minivan. Jesse Corin got the win. Mod single standalone, Kyle Pudewitter getting the win there. Youth class, Ryan Zigman. Front-wheel drive hobo class, if you can believe it, in Iowa, Kevin Ullman got a compact win. The 10,000 to win street stock weld team feature, Team SMS GHE. I believe that was Show Me Spiders. Corey Luddington and Jarek Eddy coming to win there. The heftiest heavy hitter was Trey Ewer. Mad Dogs in memory of Brian Lentz and RJ Messelheiser. Ryan Zigman in the youth class. Adam Reese in the front-wheel drive hobo class. Minivan was Kevin Ullman. Christian Allen in the full-size hobo class. So, Dominate the Dirt Point Series presented by DerbyTees.com. This is the Domination point standings. Garrett Schoen out in front with 400 points. Dan Kaiser with 360. Dylan Crowley, Corey Luddington, and Jarek Eddy with 340. Terry Lyerly and Jerry Lyerly with 300 points back there in fourth, and Jared Ullman and Tyler Hoffman out there in fifth place with 260 points. Their next event, July the 24th in Cherokee, Iowa. Again, that's the next event for Domination. All sorts of craziness going on over here on the side. Matt Free is checking in. David Ford Van Camp, excited to see potentially a stop over the border for the point series, which would be cool. I think it'd be fun to see. Oh, TJ's in and out. I think it'd be fun to see that Domination show over there in Ottawa be part of it, just because there's been always so much conversation about the hitting and the caliber of drivers. I mean, you look down a run down there, it's just like looking through the pits at Blizzard Bash. The only difference is it's outdoors. You guys ever give any thought to making it over there for that? I've wanted to. I've just never had the chance to make it.
It's far for us, so I don't know. Devin wants to run Blizzard Bash, and apparently TJ put in his head to get to Blizzard Bash. He was going to drive to TJ's house with his car. They were going to load up together and drive from TJ's to Blizzard Bash and run. And now he has it in his head. But Kayla and I said, we're flying. Screw that. We're not driving.
Yeah, definitely the way to go.
Kayla, that girl's out there listening. This is another reason why I need a 2-car hauler. I mean, it's for Devin. I've never thought about traveling out that far, but to be completely honest with you, 4 or 5 years ago, an hour and a half away was a lot of time for me to travel to a show. And we've been out to Indiana. We've been 7-8 hours across the country to different shows, and I'm like, hey, if what it takes to win this is to travel 14 hours, and I get to take my beautiful wife and my awesome kids on the road, and we experience a new city. What was really awesome was my car was not done for the show, but family comes first. We went out to Kayla just messaged me. I wonder what that's about.
Ironic.
We're driving out to Toast Show, and we stopped in Columbus, Ohio, and actually took the kids to a water park. It was awesome, and got to see a couple kids that wanted to see the car, and it made me feel kind of cool. For a couple minutes, the kids didn't care about the dinosaurs; they wanted to see the Derby car, and that was kind of cool. And then we drove the extra couple hours out and had the kids there, and that's really fun. So who knows? Iowa could be Iowa could be the ticket. You know, you never know. That could be 10 points that might be on the table for next year.
That would be.
TJ mentions that Kayla just messaged him. I got a message from Devin at the exact same time, ironically. He says, call me. And I go, I'm on Crash Course right now. He goes, sorry, didn't know I was married to a celebrity. I'm like, well.
He didn't know that?
How could he not know?
That doesn't strike me as really being news.
Like, I'm on with TJ. Come on.
Yeah, it's crazy when you get on Chris Marquardt's show and you're the B-lister.
Holy, that's me. I'm the B-list. Oh wait, no, I'm the real Undertaker. That's right.
Good grief. Good grief. Thinking about Dan Bolton tonight, I found out that his mom had passed away here. It's some sad news there. So we're thinking about Dano and everybody out there close to him. Chris Lancaster, he picked up a win in the full-size bomber class in Elk River. Big thanks out to Brown Motorsports. Very well-run show, fair show, and it might be the last run in a Caddy 500. Congrats to a bunch of the folks that are close to the Magician on second and third. Jace Holmberg get a Mad Dog award on that one, and some other Minnesota news. We had some information shared from Full Throttle, and Brandon Thomas up there, the top four up for their action this weekend. Jason Simpson getting the win over Colton Hewitt, Jaden Voss, and Jared Ristow. Jaden Voss got the Mad Dog Award. Matt Ertman, congratulations to Matt. Matt got the win over Haley Stalker, Randy Maslowski, and Dominic Stecker. Matt Ertman got the Mad Dog to go with that first place award. So not a bad night of work there. Tony Carlson, $6,000 payday, winning the truck feature. Chad Beckwith was second. Matt Russo and Chris Johnson back through the back half there, and then Jake Ertl with fifth place. Chris Johnson, he got $1,500 for the Mad Dog Award there. They had enough where they got to run heats with the trucks to get to the feature. That's kind of cool. I like that. And registration now open for the 10,000 win Fall Nationals. It's going to be at the Rice County Fairgrounds in Faribault, Minnesota. The show's at 4. That is scheduled for September the 18th. Trying to make sure that we don't forget anything. We got some folks sharing some information as we turn our attention here a little bit closer to home. Scott Kiefer talking about the Steuben County Fair. That is August 17th, 20th, and 22nd. Tim Miner from down in Texas. He's originally a Delaware County boy, transplanted down to the Lone Star State. He's back up here, spending a little bit of time with his sister. He's got something like 17 derbies he's planning on doing between now and when he goes back home, just because that's how things happen in New York. This week is going to be the Seneca County Fair Thursday night. We're doing an RC Derby over there. So if anybody wants to come over and say hello, it'd be great to see everybody. Wednesday night is the regular show, plus the figure eight races. Saturday, the regular full-size program. On Saturday next week, the Ontario County Fair is going to be in action. Broome County Fair is going to be next Wednesday. They've expanded back to a 2-night show over there at Broome County Fair, which you really don't hear about the fairs doing that, where they're expanding back out. So they're going to have a show Wednesday and Sunday next week. Unfortunately, the Dunkirk Fair, which has been so popular, we've talked a lot about Hank and Hank Pensick and the Elements and Steve Lane and all the personalities out there, the Nasty Dogs. That show has been put off for 2022 until 2022. Not going to be having the fair in 2021. I think it was mostly tied to the fact that Eric Remington had his gallbladder out and is recovering well and wouldn't be able to drive in the Derby, so they decided to just put the whole thing on hold across the board. Let's see. Scott Drevenek, he's going to try and get some points next year at the Bash, and since they didn't get any points, they ended up not chasing it. Dale Savory checking in as well. After we get past that stretch, we're going to start looking at some of the stuff with spinning wheels. Before we get into the month of August, Lowville is going to be coming up first. That is going to be on the 24th of July. Gates open at 7. Inspections from 7 to 12. Heats are going to start at 1. That's 2 shows in one day. Inspection for the 6 o'clock show is going to go right after the 1 p.m. show. Inspection closes at 5. So hopefully the pace keeps up and everything motors through. Bone Stock Compacts, there's 2 one and dones of those at 1 o'clock, another pair of those at 6 o'clock. Economy Compacts, the one and done at 1 o'clock. Along with them is going to be the compact vans and trucks and the Bone Stock V8. There's going to be another Bone Stock V8 at 6 o'clock. All of those, again, one and dones. Economy V8s, farm trucks, and full-size trucks also on the card there for spinning wheels on the 24th at the Lewis County Fair in Lowville. Talking about county fairs, we got to make sure that we mention Smash Demolition Derbies. Madison County Fairs in London, Ohio on the 17th. Pro Stock's going to be there along with the street stock full-size cars. Make sure you jump on smashitderby.com. You can get the full rundown and everything. So on the 22nd, they're going to be at the Fayette County Fair in Washington Courthouse, which I think is like the second or third derby they've had at the Washington Courthouse Fairgrounds this year. They love their derbies. Franklin County Fair in Hilliard is on the 24th of July. Same night, Fayette County Fair, the second night of Washington Courthouse's program is on the 24th. Any year Pro Stock is going to be the main class there. Clark County Fair is on the 25th of July in Springfield. Street Stocks, any year Pro Stock, co-headlining that event. Claremont County Fair in Owensville, Ohio. Again, it's going to be the Pro Stock Minis and the Street Stocks sharing the main billing there to round out the month. 3 derbies in one night. Shelby County Fair in Sydney, Ohio, with the Pro Stock Minis, the minivans, trucks, and SUVs, part of the program there, along with any of your Super Stocks. Preble County Fair in Eaton on the 31st. Derby's going to start at 6 o'clock there. Street Stock Minis and Street Stock Full Size plus any of your Pro Stocks. And the Claremont County Fair in Owensville, their second night is the 31st of July. Any of your Pro Stock on the headline for that one with Smash It. That runs through all of that stuff. I think, looking at all of the notes that we had, we've covered everything that we wanted to get through tonight, unless anybody in the chat wants to add anything else. How about you guys?
That's a lot. Holy.
Yeah, we ran through a lot in 45 minutes. We tend to be efficient when we're working from home.
Usually you're not efficient when I'm on here. I talk too much and make it go longer, so I'm glad that we're being efficient this time. But you remember 5, 6, 7 years ago when people were like, oh, there's no more cars left. Derby's dying. Like, did you just listen to what you just listed off?
Exactly.
You didn't
Not only did I listen to what I just listed off, I had to compile it over the last hour, so I'm very well aware of the fact that Derby is not dead.
Derby is not dead.
No, it's on fire. It is on fire. It is growing. I get passionate about this. You know I do, Chrissy. It is on fire,
100%.
And we're just happy to be in the blaze with you guys because it is on fire. If you ain't having fun derbying right now, you can't have fun derbying.
I agree. And who better to join this venture with than to hang out with some of our best friends in the world with Dead Man and all of them. It's just amazing. It's such an awesome venture.
We appreciate it.
I'm really excited about the Broome County Fair next week. I got a phone call from Justin Madden, and they were looking for some help down there, so I get to go back down there and announce again. So that's going to be fun, getting back down to Broome County Fair. We've done a couple live county fair shows. It's been whether they know it or not, the Broome County Fair has been a guinea pig for a lot of technology tests, and that's where we got to hang out with Christy when she came up and we did a little bit of announcing work during, I think it was the first Kings of Old School, right?
Oh my gosh, that was the fun. I had the best time when I came up and helped out with that. That was awesome.
That
was the first time Devin got rolled.
First time.
First time. His first American show. About, what was it? About 25 seconds off the green, he got rolled.
Yeah,
America.
It was fairly quick. It was off
It was
the
like,
rip.
welcome to America.
Yep. So that is a lot of fun. Looking forward to that, and then it's going to be fun. I went and picked up the track from Tom Bell's place yesterday after we got done with the soccer game there. Got the track, so we got to drop that off over at the fairgrounds either tonight before the game or after the game, whatever ends up happening to be the most efficient use of time.
I think also, Chris used to do the Crash Course live podcast from Kings of Old School and stuff like that. And now the ability to bring people like Alex Vasco coming down and putting stuff on YouTube and being the biggest demolition derby site on YouTube is phenomenal. To have that ability to get things out to the fans and to have people that are all over the world being able to come in and watch what people are doing in, Maryland and Virginia and Ohio and New York and Canada. And it's amazing that we have the ability to get that stuff out there. So awesome. And kudos to people like yourself pioneering this. And then kudos to people like Alex Vasco who have the ability to get it out there as well. So if you haven't subscribed, go and subscribe to All For Him Racing. It's awesome.
Several years ago, when we were doing that on YouTube, you could go back into the analytics. I haven't done it in a while because we haven't been on YouTube from live events where we're drawing numbers or anything like that we had to go back and double check on. Mostly because, when you had that kind of thing, you had to make sure you weren't getting barred places because for whatever reason you get shut off in different parts of the country. But it was always fun to look back and see that you had a hit in Poland, or you had a hit in Germany, you had a hit in Brazil or in Japan, or you had 5 watches in all these different countries and stuff. And more often than not, if you started talking about those, you get a message from those people that were watching there, and oftentimes it was service folks that are stationed overseas, and they were turning around and watching it. So on the heels of that, back when the magazine was rocking and we were doing shirts and all that other stuff was real busy, I made a shirt that said "The sun never sets on the smashed empire," and put these little call-out boxes with the logos. It was a map of the Earth flattened out, and it had these little call-out boxes. We had a David Sims, who periodically I still play Words with Friends with, on the Scrabble game over in England. He was a subscriber for the magazine. We sent a bunch of apparel over to him, and there was regular hits in Brazil and stuff. And it was just really neat, when the artwork was done, to sit back and look at it, and it's like all these hits all over the place, and it's not just us. I mean, Alex is getting that kind of traffic, Derby Tees is getting that kind of traffic, Track Shot's getting that kind of traffic, and it's like you said, from 2005 on, we've been hearing about the epitaph of Demolition Derby being written. We're going to run out of cars, and this is over, and that's over. And you can have every Demolition Derby driver on the planet can quote you production numbers from 1960 for Imperials and 1965 for the Crown Coupe and all these different makes and models, and how it's going to go downhill. It's going to get too expensive. Well, we still haven't run out of Roundbacks, and we still haven't run out of Rivieras. And I'm confident that with the production numbers just for livery purposes, we're never going to run out of Crown Vics. No matter how many of them.
Did you see Jeffy's comment? Jeffy's comment is, more Camrys made in 1 year than all years of roundback wagons. Derbies aren't dying, it's just changing gears.
There's nothing wrong with
that. Clever. I used to see what people don't realize is that like I to this day still travel and will do a double take and go, oh my gosh, pull the car over. There's an Imperial sitting there, or there's an old Iron GM sitting there. I have found roundbacks on back roads. Just getting them is the hard part. But what I realized is that they're not gone. We're just all hoarding them. We all have them. Like I know 4 or 5 separate people, guaranteed separate people, that have at least 100 cars apiece. At least. It take a long time for somebody that knows Derbies 4 or 5 years to. 4 or 5 times a year to get through all those cars. You just have to market yourself and get in the right groups, and you can find them. There's thousands and thousands of Derby cars that I know about personally that, if you're willing to pay and you're willing to drive, they're there. There's junkyard. I go to a junkyard every single year, and, I hate to say this, but until that person dies, those cars are not coming out of there. The person that's going to take over, that's like, I can't wait to get these cars out of there. And I'm just hoping, the 15, 20 roundbacks that are still in there are still good to go. I'm not sending you points, on a wild goose chase, but it might be down in Mexico.
Right.
If you want to go take a peek. Steven Sickles, there are Toyota Siennas in a junkyard in Colorado. They're like $50 a piece.
Stop toying with him, TJ. Stop.
The only problem that you run into with those junkyards and those places that are sitting on piles of cars, that when the owners pass away, often it just ends up getting all crushed at the same time. So you got to have somebody that's coming in there that's, willing to do the paperwork to keep that open, because when the junkyards change hands, all the grandfathering that occurred goes away. And you have to abide by the current EPA rules and stuff, and that's where a lot of folks just wash their hands of it and say, "I'm not interested. I'm good." And it's a whole lot easier to send all that stuff through a crusher than it is to part it out and make it worth it. Anything that was made prior to 1970 is worth a fortune, no matter what it is. And a lot of those junkyards, those owners of those places, they kind of operate on that premise. And I think it's better to get whatever you can into the hands of restorers or derbiers, whatever it might be. Because you sitting on it and not selling it because it's worth a bunch of money makes you no money.
Exactly.
Yeah, your sales pitch has to be real cool, because if you're a Christian, you believe in that you're going to answer for everything you ever said and done. Well, I tell you, there's a lot of times that I've said I'm going to restore a car, and I was not planning on restoring that car. So God forgive me, because you got to be really good with your pitch. You got to know your stuff. You got to know stuff about cars and stuff like that when you go up to them, because you got to be able to talk the talk. Because if they feel like you're a derby driver, don't do what I do and accidentally wear a Dead Man Derby shirt, walk up and be like, hey, I'm looking to restore that Cadillac, sir.
That's why Devin sends me to the door all the time. I'm the one who has to go and do the sales pitch. I get these links all the time. Hey, go buy this. And then I'm the one sending the information or knocking on the door as we're out driving around, because they don't say no to girls. Because, we have a good sales pitch.
Right
Knocks
on.
on the front, back in the car, and Devin's like, well, how'd it go? Well, we now own their house.
Exactly.
Stacy Conine checking in Battle Creek, Michigan. Small cars are bringing the young crowd in. I'm kind of inclined to go with that, Scott. Scott said 20 years ago it was all 8-bangers. Now it's 4 and 6. Remember, 20 years ago was the year 2000, 2001. So just bear in mind that the compacts were a thing in 2000 and 2001. They were a sideshow maybe at some of these fairs, but they were still a thing. They certainly didn't have their own standalone 5,000, 8,000, 10,000 to win shows, but they were a thing. It might have been closer to 30 for those numbers to map out. On the flip side, Tommy Woodbury can't even find Camrys up in Vermont. Frankie Guy checking in with a thumbs up. And one thing, just as a final note here before we sign off, is the Cadillac, as TJ just referenced, used to be a throwaway car.
Yep.
The Malibu had its day. The Riviera's had its day. The Crown Vic is dominating things, and now we see the slab side mid-90s Lincoln Town Car starting to gain popularity in stock shows, and that wasn't something that was really in the main conversation. So it's easy to say all those horrible it's going away things, but you start looking at the numbers, you start looking at the production, you start looking at the production I'm talking about from the promoter side of things, and the fact that county fairs are starting to add dates and starting to come back, and how that's the lifeblood of so many county fairs on the local level. And the fact that the season starts January 1st and it doesn't end until December 2nd or 3rd with Winter Warzone. It seems like the sport's in pretty good shape, and maybe we just haven't found the next hot derby car yet.
I'm sure it's out there, and I'm sure someone will find it. They just got to take the shot and run it.
1986 Old Regency. That's what TJ told me.
Great. Everyone's going to go looking for that now, just because TJ said so.
You start talking about them smart cars and how awesome the frame setup is when you put like a Mighty Mini from Smith's Metalworks on there. Man, they are tough cars. You got to figure out the wiring harness, but once you figure out them smart cars, man, they're strong.
The problem is everybody's going to try to run those in Power Wheels.
There it is. There's your adult Power Wheel right there.
I've seen so many bugs lately getting wrecked. It's amazing how well they stand up. Those Beetles.
Corey Laux went around here in one of those.
Yeah, not to like just keep going, but like that's the cool thing about the sport is that we won't let it die, because everybody keeps learning every single year about what's the new best thing to build. People talk about like, depending on the rule set, if you give, metric GMs a certain part of the rule set, they can compete. And like, if you write a good set of rules, and I'm still learning how to do that, but if you write a good set of rules, you might be able to bring other cars in, and we might be able to figure out how to like, there might be a rule set one day when it starts to get tight, but I don't think it's anytime soon. But if it starts to get tight where, you look down the rules, and right now it always says 03 and newer, and it has its own section, and Imperials, you can't run them, then there's like, I think you're going to find that there's going to be a section for, roundbacks. There's going to be a section for caddies, to kind of, figure, I don't know if that's going to happen or not, but that could, or maybe giving more cars something else. But yeah, I watched Spider Charles Webb run a Volkswagen up here, and he's just testing and tuning, trying to figure it out. Remember when PT Cruisers were like, holy cow, somebody's cruiser? Yeah. Now they're everywhere. I mean, it's the next best thing. I mean, as soon as one person figures it out and starts having success, everybody jumps on the train.
Mm-hmm.
Kias, absolutely. A lot of them. We're seeing a lot of Kias lately around our shows.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. We had a guy out here that used to run like Caledonian Hemlock that swore by the Daewoo wagons.
Yeah. Well, you figure the Kias are all plastic, so the frame has to be tougher, right?
There's a reason why a couple of people swear by the Saturns, I suppose.
Yeah. So I think an Elantra will do well as well. Yeah, they're coming along.
A Hyundai Elantra?
Yeah, I've seen a few of them. Take a look at them, TJ. Look at the frame.
Oh, I think we were both picking on you about how you said Elantra.
Oh, sorry. Elantra.
There you go.
Chris, can you send her some decals so she can put them on Devin's car?
You guys are so mean. You always pick on my Canadian accent. I'm ootin' a boot right now.
Oh my.
Yeah, the Hyundai Sonatas. Tommy Woodbury just said Hyundai Sonatas are pretty tough. That's
See?
I'm willing to believe it. It's
You guys are mean.
It's all good stuff. Oh, I was gonna say something, but then I got sidetracked by our.
You're making fun of the Canadian accent.
Well, you keep putting the wrong emphasis on the wrong syllable.
Yes, I do. I do put the wrong emphasis on, so I get that.
TJ, you look lost in thought. What happened? It looks like your head just exploded.
She said emphasis, and I don't know what to do.
Oh.
Right, so
See, this is the problem, Chris, with having friends on. You have friends on, it just turns into a laugh fest. That's all that happens.
Well,
I
think we
thought I
still.
was right.
I think we were still able to cover a lot of ground. I mean, it would seem to me that we were able to cover pretty much everything that we need to, and we even picked up some information from the folks hanging out in the live chat as well. Frankie Guy there. Hope those guys have some good luck. I know they got some derbies coming up, so we'll be following up with them. Say it again.
Can I say something about that real quick? Frankie's searching for some people interested in that hardcore full-size class. This is a show paying $10,000. If you don't think $10,000 is enough money to get on your horse and build a car, you got to get in there and build a car. It's a good set of rules. It gives you plenty of car to go out and drive. It's $10,000 to win. I mean, $10,000 here on the East Coast. If you're an East Coast driver and you got a pre-ran or something, you need to call them and find out what you got to do to get registered for that. It's an affordable registration. Registrations all across the country are out of control right now. It's an affordable registration for such a high payout. It's a great track. It's a great promoter. Honestly, if you have the opportunity to register for that, you should really do it. I know he's looking for some people to step up and stop just talking. So if you get the chance to do that, register for the hardcore full size down there.
Awesome. Well, Christy, any final thoughts?
No, just, you guys keep doing what you're doing. We're going to keep trying to do what we're doing up here. And hopefully we have a lot more things starting to open up as we're just entering phase 3 of reopening up here. So wish us luck. Hopefully we can pull off some more shows and get some more people in the cars and smash some more cars. So excellent.
Well, I appreciate you guys coming on and hanging out with us for a little while. If we did miss anything, shoot me a message. We'll try to catch up on it again next week. I'm not 100% certain that we'll be back in the studio quite yet, but at least we know that we got this system up and running, and we were able to go to Facebook without any problems. We figured that out last Thursday with last Friday when Final Round came back on the air after a little bit of time off. Jason's doing well up there. He had a couple drag races in, so we were able to get that up and running. Everything's working good from home, so maybe now that TJ's gone to it sounded like it was really, really tedious effort to figure out how to work Microsoft Teams on his computer.
Oh my.
So he persevered and he was able to join us. Maybe we can make this thing work here for the upcoming weeks. I think though that's going to do it for us here on the Crash Course Podcast number 363 rather in the books. Appreciate you checking out what we were doing tonight. Get out there and support some derbies. We'll see everybody again next time.